The ice doesn't kill quickly. It waits, silently, patiently. The men who stepped aboard the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror didn't know they were walking into a grave. They smiled, raised their hats to the cheering crowd, and believed they were heading toward greatness. Instead, they vanished. Over time, bones were found, scattered, gnawed, frozen in gestures that looked like prayer or surrender. Empty ships, meals left untouched, journals ending mid-sentence. It sounds like fiction, but it happened, and we still don't know why. In 1845, Sir John Franklin, a 59-year-old British naval officer and Arctic explorer, led an expedition to discover the Northwest Passage, a fabled sea route connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans through the icy waters of the Arctic. With him were 128 officers and men, 2 heavily modified warships, and 3 years' worth of supplies. They were ready. At least, they thought they were. The Erebus and the Terror weren't ordinary ships. They had been fitted with reinforced hulls to withstand the crushing grip of sea ice, steam-powered engines for propulsion when the wind failed, and even heating systems to keep the men alive during the long polar nights. Each ship carried thousands of pounds of food, coal, weapons, tools, books, and even a hand organ to lift morale. They also brought with them something else: overconfidence. The British Empire was at its peak, and its explorers were seen as untouchable heroes. There was no room for doubt. As the ships sailed into Baffin Bay, they were seen one last time by a whaling vessel. Then silence. Months passed, then years. No letters, no word, just a growing sense of dread. The British Admiralty launched a series of rescue missions. Desperate families offered personal fortunes. More than 30 expeditions combed the Arctic over the next 2 decades. They found scattered relics, but no clear answers. In 1854, an explorer named John Ray encountered Inuit hunters who spoke of white men seen starving near the mouth of a river. They described bodies and cannibalism. The British public refused to believe it. Lady Franklin, John's widow, denounced the claim as slander. But bones don't lie. Years later, skeletal remains were uncovered. Some were arranged with care, as if the dead had been buried by their comrades. Others were not. Some had deep knife marks on the bones, signs of flesh removal. Forensic tests later confirmed what the Inuit had said decades earlier. Lead was everywhere, in the bones, the hair, even in the soft tissue of mummified remains. It likely came from poorly sealed canned food and water pipes. But what began as a slow poisoning soon became a descent into madness, confusion, hallucinations, poor decision-making. Mutiny? Perhaps. Imagine it, stranded in endless white silence, weeks turning into months. The cold never letting up, supplies dwindling, friends dying one by one, leadership weakening, the crew realizing they were alone. No one was coming. One of the last known records was a brief note, scribbled hastily on the margin of a printed form. All well. Then later, on the same page, 24 men dead. Franklin dead. Ships abandoned. It's the most chilling before and after in history. Even more mysterious is the decision to march south, over 1,000 kilometers of ice, dragging lifeboats on sledges. They carried silverware, books, even silk handkerchiefs. Some of the sledges were so heavy they had to be abandoned. Why carry luxuries while starving? Why not turn back sooner? Some speculate the officers clung to hierarchy and routine. Others think they simply didn't understand how dire the situation was. Or perhaps they couldn't accept defeat. In 2014, Canadian search teams using sonar finally located the wreck of the Erebus. 2 years later, they found the Terror. The ships were hauntingly preserved in the cold waters, cabinets still shut, teacups on tables, curtains in place. One room even had an open book, its pages still intact. It was as if time had frozen too. What remains inside those wrecks is still being studied. Locked compartments, sealed drawers, personal journals, some possibly still legible. Modern explorers are cautious. They know they're not just exploring ships, they're disturbing tombs. Meanwhile, indigenous oral histories, long dismissed, have proven accurate. The Inuit knew where the ships were. They described men walking with blackened gums and sunken eyes. They told stories of strange tools and unfamiliar clothes. If their voices had been trusted earlier, the wrecks might have been found a century ago. The Franklin expedition is often remembered for its failure, but in truth, it reveals a clash between arrogance and reality, technology versus nature, empire versus environment. This wasn't just an exploration gone wrong. It was a lesson in humility. Each time a new relic is found, a shoe, a spoon, a handwritten note, it reopens the wound. It reminds us how little we truly control. In the face of the Arctic, all our inventions become fragile. Our courage turns into silence. Our names become entries in a ledger of the lost. The mystery still isn't fully solved. Some documents remain missing. Some theories still divide scholars. And deep inside the Terror and Erebus, there may still be secrets, waiting. But one truth is certain. These men, trained and proud, believed they were heading into history. And they were right. Just not the kind of history they imagined. We look at old photographs of their loved ones, their uniforms, their medals, and we wonder, did they realize in those final hours that they had crossed a point of no return? Did they regret the mission? Or were they too far gone to care? It's easy to frame this as a ghost story, but it's more than that. It's about human limits, about what happens when we confront the unknown and expect it to obey us. They didn't die all at once. They died in pieces, mind, body, spirit, over weeks, months, years, until all that remained were silent wrecks, drifting beneath the ice. And so the Arctic keeps its secrets, still, quiet, endless, because the ice doesn't kill quickly. It waits, silently, patiently.